about that. At this point, I would like to keep my comments short, let the governor come up, make her remarks, and then we will proceed with the program. Governor Miller.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. What a pleasure to be here. I thought I'd hear a big 10-4 on that. It's a nice day. It is a beautiful day, no question. It is a hobby, I know, but it is a very necessary help to state and local governments when we have emergencies and we don't have equipment working. I often think, had they have had the ham operators out in Mississippi, Louisiana, when they were having so much trouble communicating, I think you would have found that they would have been a lot better and would have done it a lot quicker. So there have been many unpredictable and predictable, because we knew they were coming, emergencies here in this state. There is no question about that. We were just yesterday looking back at some of the reports and some of the things that were written on the storm of 93. And if you remember that one, it was not good to us, that's for sure. But in more recent years, we always think of 9/11 and what happened that day. Happened in New York, happened in Washington, happened in a farm field in Pennsylvania. Had they have taken out communication systems in any of those areas, we would have been in deep trouble. There is no question about that, because we would not have been able to communicate. But I don't have to tell you about that. Sometimes, even when you try, you can't get through either because of something that's interfering. I know we used to have the systems in our trucks, and before we got the handheld telephones, we used to use those to communicate with the trucks to see where they were and what was going on. So I'm a bit familiar with the call systems and all the rest to try to connect people. As amateur operators, you play an important role in the emergency communication system. There is no question about that. Your participation makes a difference for every one of us. I have often thought of how many. We had a neighbor down at the shore who had a system, and he used to take it on his boat, and I'd always think, boy, that's a lot of money he's putting on that boat. If it gets wet, it's probably going to ruin it. But he always made sure he had zippered covers that he could put over it, so if there was spray, he would get that equipment wet. But he told me one day when we were talking about some of these things that there were more than 1,500 ham operators, and I'm told that now there's over 1,600. And if you think of that in a small state like Delaware, that means we really will have communications when we need them if there's any problems. And I understand there are 500 of you here in Sussex County, which means you can cover the county if we need you. Thank you. Thank you for your willingness to help, and thank you for volunteering your services and your equipment if we have the need to use you. I sincerely appreciate your commitment to the safety and the well-being of all Delawareans, because that's what it really means. If we need to go to pick up someone with an ambulance and they have no communication, it's going to be someone like you that they can get to, that can call the ambulance and let them know. A lot of times we have found that people calling from one to the next, passing along those messages, works so well that it really does make a difference. You're from various clubs, I know that, and to see you all together participating like this, sort of seeing how far you can reach, but as well, taking a few minutes to just look at what you're doing makes a difference. I need to thank the members of our General Assembly, the Sussex County Council, here today as well to sort of learn a little more about what you do and how you do it. The representatives are National Guard. Those guys work their full day. They volunteer. Everywhere you look, you find some of them. I always said I saw them at the Little League parks, I saw them in the churches, I see them at the Scouts, I see them every one of the nonprofit groups, and here they are again today working with you. Delaware State Police, and I understand they're working today, some of them as well, to just be sure they can still communicate with you. Our Delaware Emergency Management Agency, the Sussex County Emergency Operations Center, Sussex County Airport. You know, we can't always prevent catastrophes, but what we need to do is be prepared and willing and ready to respond when we have one. Thank you. That's what you're doing today, and that's what you'll do if we really have a bad storm or need you. I brought along a resolution today to support what you're doing, and I'm not going to read it all because it is very long, but I will say that it starts in statement in observance of Amateur Radio Month, whereas amateur radio operators are celebrating a century of the miracle of the human voice broadcast over the airwaves, and whereas amateur radio has not only provided a bridge between people, societies, and countries by creating friendships and the sharing of ideas, but the operators also have provided countless hours of community service. And I'll skip down to the bottom, whereas Delaware alone has over 1,600 licensed amateur radio operators, with 500 residing in Sussex County, and all of them ready, willing, and able to serve. Now, therefore, we, Ruth Ann Minner, Governor, and John C. Carney, Jr., Lieutenant Governor, do hereby declare June 2007 Amateur Radio Month and urge all Delawareans to recognize the ARRL Amateur Radio Field Day exercise on June 23rd and 24th, 2007, where radio facilities are constructed under primitive conditions to stimulate those following a disaster or emergency situation. With that, I will tell you our Lieutenant Governor has signed it. He is upstate today, could not be with us, but I haven't signed it, and a lot of people will say to me, "Oh, we know, you just run those things through the printing press." We really don't. We actually sign them ourselves. And I have the pen that I'm going to sign it with. How about that? And with that, Mr. Ryan, we appreciate very much
Thank you
all that you do. Thank you.
very much.
And I'm going to ask that you receive the pen that I signed it with, just so everybody will know I really did sign it for you while I was here. Thank you.
The Secretary of Homeland Security will speak momentarily, but when the governor mentioned the person on the sailboat and the radio, it reminded me of the story of Walter Cronkite, is a ham operator and has his boat on radio on the boat. Some other folks, Marlon Brando, Priscilla Presley, Patty Loveless, and the former King Hussein are ham operators. And we have one of those folks in this audience today, the Vice Mayor of Bethany Beach, Mr. McClenny.